Welcome to What's Your Story, the YSA 20th Ward podcast. I am your co-host, Lexi.
And I'm your other co-host, Kennedy.
We wanted to start this first podcast with both of us introducing ourselves and introducing kind of how we see this podcast going.
Yeah, so we want this podcast to be pretty informal. We just want to get to know the people in the ward and give those listening a chance to get to know people as well. So it is like we are going to bring up spiritual topics, but we also just want to be kind of silly and goofy with it and get to know things about people that you wouldn't normally otherwise know about them.
Everyone has a story, and we hope to kind of bring that to the surface as well as get to know everybody in the ward, because sometimes it's hard to just go up to somebody and be like, hey, I think you're cool. But that can be really awkward. So we're going to bring this to a very chill setting. Starting off, Kennedy, what is your favorite dinosaur?
That's a fantastic question. My favorite dinosaur is a Spinosaurus. I am terrified of the water, and I don't like being in deep water. So you might think, why is her favorite dinosaur one that lived in the deep water? I don't know. I think they're super cool. They have like a giant knife on their back, and they're like apex predators, and they can swim really fast. And that is something that I aspire to do.
Swim really fast or have a knife on your back?
Have a knife on my back, definitely.
That is a great goal in life to have.
Thank you. Lexi, what's your favorite dinosaur?
I think parasaurs are pretty dope. I'll be honest, I love dinosaurs, but I really only know them from, like, children's books and video games. And parasaurs pop up pretty often, and they're pretty cool.
That they do. Were you a Littlefoot kind of gal?
I was a Littlefoot kind of gal. I really resonated with Ducky and Sarah. If there was, like, a combination of the two of them, that would be me.
I would agree with that
statement.
Yeah,
it's pretty apparent.
So Lexi, tell me a bit about yourself. Where are you from?
Originally, well, okay. I can't really say originally, but I claim to be from Texas. Technically, I was born here in Ogden, but I moved when I was about 2, grew up most of my life in Texas. So I claim to be a Texas gal. It's not 100% accurate, but that's where I grew up most of my life. I kind of bounced around a whole bunch of different cities in Texas and have found my way back to Utah. My parents decided to move while I was out on my mission, which was a little rude, did not ask my permission. But here I am, which has been great because I get to hang out with family and cousins. Kennedy.
Yeah, for those of you who may not know, Lexi and I are cousins. We're basically carbon copies of each other, so if you get to know one of us, you kind of got to know both of us.
It's like a package deal.
Yeah, it's a 2-for-1 deal. It's so convenient.
So convenient. We are pretty expensive, though, so if you're going to purchase one, you just got to know you're going to get the other.
Okay. Where'd you serve your mission?
Portland, Oregon. So, gorgeous place. I got to serve at the visitor center every single day, which was really fun. I also had an area that I covered, so I was very busy. Had a lot of meals and study time in the car as we would drive to and fro. But it was a good time. What about you, Kennedy? Where are you from?
Born and raised North Ogden, Utah. I have moved once in my life, and it was when I was 1 year old, and it was like 5 minutes away to where I currently live. So
nice.
I'm pretty boring, born and raised here.
If you could choose anywhere other than Utah to live, where would you choose?
Ooh, other than Utah? Probably Montana. Growing up, my family went to Yellowstone at least once a year, so I really fell in love with like Gardner, Montana, and obviously Yellowstone. And I really love fall. It's my favorite season, and I would definitely want to live somewhere that there is fall. I really love the snow. I love winter. I'm not a huge fan of the heat, so I feel like the further north I go, the less I'm going to have to deal with like 105-degree weather. And the more I'm just going to get to wear sweaters and comfy clothes all the time. So probably Montana.
Nice. So definitely not Texas then.
No, I've been to Texas and I hated it. It was very beautiful and I had a good time while I was there. But the heat plus the humidity is a no-go for me.
That's fair. Very fair.
Yeah. Lexi, are you doing school? Or are you just working? Like what's a typical like week plan look like for you?
Well, that depends on the time of year. Currently, right now, I'm doing mostly work and caring for the small farm that we have. We have chickens and pheasants and sheep and cats and dogs, and that's all the critters basically outside, let alone the animals that we have inside. Or we've got tortoise and snakes, and at one point we had jumping spiders.
Now you just have a spider that lives above your sink.
Yes, his name is Reginald. His job is to catch flies in the house. He's doing a great job. Fantastic. He's a good.
He's paying his rent.
He's paying his rent. So most days start off with me going out and taking care of all the critters and making sure that everybody is thriving and alive. I work as an esthetician, and I've got a small spa inside our home. So if I have clients that day, I'm working and taking care of them, helping them achieve any of their skincare goals, as well as helping with removing hair or fine lines or wrinkles or even excess skin. So it's kind of fun, science and beauty coming together. If I have free time, I've got a plethora of hobbies that I dabble in, whether that's doing stuff outdoors or crafting something that I saw online and was like, hey, I have no skill or experience doing that, but I'm going to try it anyway. So it keeps me pretty busy, and if I'm not doing that, then I'm either binge watching a show or chewing through a book and knocking it off of my to be read list.
Nice.
So it's good. It's good stuff. I stay nice and busy. Maybe a little too busy, but it's fun.
So with the aesthetics, like how much training and schooling do you have to have for that?
I have gone through a year program getting my basics out of the way, and come January I'll be starting the master's program.
Woohoo!
Which will be really fun. That'll allow me to do quite a bit more. I had some hands-on training from a specific company to do some intense work with a machine called a Viora, which can allow me to do like the hair removal using an IPL, which is a intense light base treatment. That can also treat acne, and so that was pretty fun having someone come out from the company and do some hands-on training. But that's kind of what I do for work. Kennedy, what do you do for work, or what are your school and career goals?
So currently I work at a probation office. I'm a lab tech. So when people are put on probation, a lot of times one of the core requirements is they have to do drug tests. So I basically get to watch people pee all day. It's super exciting.
Sounds thrilling.
So thrilling. I actually had to testify in court over the summer because I caught a guy falsifying his drug test. I guess I should clarify, I don't watch the men pee. It's their unobserved test. I just have to be in the room. Kind of awkward. But all of these, like, he was acting super suspicious, and like all of these little things that he was doing just added up, and I was convinced that he had falsified and was using someone else's urine to give a sample. So I like followed my proper procedure. I made a report. Like 2 months later, I got a phone call from the probation officer, and she was like, "Hey, will you testify in court?" And I was like, "Sure." And then as soon as I hung up the phone, I just started to panic. I think I texted you, and I was like, "Lexi, help me. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm so scared."
I was like, "Why are you going to court?"
Yeah, so...
What'd you do?
Yeah, I didn't do anything. I did my job, actually. So,
kudos.
Thank you. So I testified in court. That was kind of scary, but it was actually a good experience because I'm going into crime scene investigation. I'm currently in my last semester of my bachelor's at Weber State. I'll graduate in December, and then
Woohoo.
Yay! Hopefully, my plan is to get hired on as a CSI. I would like to stay here, but there's not a lot of CSI openings, so we will see what happens.
Isn't the future so exciting?
It's so great.
The great unknown.
The great unknown.
But that's so exciting that you're almost done with school.
I know, I'm kind of freaking out though, because then I have to like get a big girl job and like figure out my life. You can do
it. I believe in you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm scared. But yeah, so that's what I'm doing. Just school and work right now. Um,
When you have free time, what's your go-to?
um, that's a good question. I really enjoy reading. I have a really long list of books that I would like to read, as well as a really long list of books that I have read. My bookshelves are basically overflowing at this point. I don't have very much room left. Um, I really like to play video games. I'm really big into horror games, like Dead by Daylight. It's a good one.
Classic.
Yes.
Very, very fun. Can attest to that as
Yeah.
well.
I really like Hogwarts Legacy. That's a fun one that I'm playing through. Slime Rancher is a
Okay.
fun game. That's not a horror game. It's just you just collect little slimes and make a farm.
Sounds very peaceful.
It is very peaceful.
We're gonna backtrack a little bit. You like Hogwarts Legacy.
Yes.
What house do you identify with?
Slytherin.
Oh, no surprise there.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Not shocking at all.
Yeah. I would ask you the same question, but I already know your answer is
Yeah,
the same as mine.
also Slytherin.
Yes. I used to be a hardcore, I was a Gryffindor.
To this day, can't see it.
I
Cannot see how you tried to convince yourself.
So hard to convince myself that I was a Gryffindor because all the cool kids were Gryffindors and I wanted to be a Gryffindor. And then one day I was telling a friend a story about something that I did in elementary school, and she was like, "That's not a Gryffindor thing to do." And I was like, "You know what? I think you're right." And from then on, I've embraced my Slytherin identity.
And do you feel more at peace now that you've embraced your true identity?
I do, yeah. Mm-hmm.
It can be quite challenging when you are conflicted with yourself.
Yes. Got that internal conflict going on. Are you a Sour Patch Watermelon or a Sour Patch Kids kind of person?
Ooh, it definitely depends on the
Because there is
mood.
a right answer, I think.
I think overall, definitely Sour Patch Watermelon.
Okay, good.
If I had to pick, oh, I'm so glad I passed.
Yes.
If I had to pick a Sour Patch Kids, I pick out the blue and the green ones. I would prefer to just eat those.
Not the red?
No, I'm not a fan of the red ones.
But can we agree that the yellow are just...
Yeah, the yellow ones get tossed. In fact, if I have them at my house, I feed them to my dog because he likes Sour Patch Kids. He likes sour candies.
I'm glad to know that your dog regularly enjoys eating people-shaped food. That fills me with a lot of comfort.
Did not think of it that way. But now I'm a little concerned.
Yeah.
If he starts drooling and he's just staring at me, I might run the other way.
I don't think you should run. Isn't that the number one thing you're not supposed to do with a predator?
I thought that was for cats.
If you're in the woods and you there's a bear, you're not supposed to run, right? Because then he's just gonna go, ooh, yummy, fast food. And he's gonna chomp down on you.
That is a good point. Am I with a group of people? Because if I'm with a group of people, I just have to run faster than them.
That is true. In my analogy, you were by yourself.
Ooh. Then yeah, I'm going to play dead because I've heard that's the safest approach.
Okay.
But I don't think my dog has bear-like tendencies.
He's pretty fat, though. And bears are kind of fat.
Just very fluffy. Okay. I take offense for my dog on that remark.
You can enjoy living in denial.
It might have to do with all the Sour Patch Kids that I keep giving him.
Maybe, just fattening him up.
Oh, goodness, yeah. Maybe not the best course of action.
No.
Kennedy.
Yes.
Completely changing the subject here.
Okay.
But what is your favorite temple?
Ooh, that I've been to or just that I've seen?
Ooh.
Or that I've gone inside?
Oh, that's a lot of options.
Yeah.
Let's do one of each. Do they differ or are they pretty similar?
I didn't think that far ahead when I asked you follow-up questions.
See, get bamboozled.
Dang it. Okay, probably my number one favorite temple, regardless of category, is DC. Washington, D.C. I love, the Golden Spires. I think it's just a really pretty temple.
Is this one that you've seen in person?
Yes. So
okay.
we didn't go inside, but when I was in junior high, I think, my family took a trip to DC, and we just like walked around the temple grounds, and I was just like, oh my gosh, it's so gorgeous. I'm kind of blinded, but it's gorgeous.
Temples do have that effect on people.
Yeah, especially that one, because like the sun hits those golden spires just right, and it like reflects into your eyes, and you're just like, oh my gosh, the light of God.
I've been blinded.
I've been blinded.
You know, of all the things to be blinded by, that's not too bad.
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
That's a good one. I really like the San Diego temple. I don't know if I've been to that one.
You know, those do have very similar builds.
Yes, they do.
I'm sensing a theme.
Yeah. I don't have a comment for that, because I don't know. My favorite temple that I've been to, that I've like actually done temple work in, I really like the Brigham City Temple. I love like endowment sessions where you move from rooms to room, like room to room. I just think it's like fun, and it helps you not to fall asleep, which is,
I was just about to say, it's nice to have a little leg stretch.
Yes. Lexi and I actually just a couple weeks ago, we did a trip down to St. George, and we went through the St. George open house, which was really cool.
That was really fun.
That's a really pretty temple on the outside too, but like the inside, I was like, wow, this is a really cool temple.
I went to the St. George one, obviously with Kennedy most recently, like she just said, but I went right before they closed it, and so it was really cool to see the changes that had been made in the time that they were renovating it, and kind of seeing how it turned out in the end. It was very, very pretty.
That is, yeah, that'd be a cool process. It's like seeing pictures of like the old Ogden temple versus the new one.
Yeah, I forgot that Ogden used to look like the cupcake style.
Yeah, I kind of did too.
I definitely like it better now. No offense to the Provo temple, but you look like a cupcake.
I mean, cupcakes are pretty good.
They are. Prefer muffins, but cupcakes are fine.
Yeah. What are your, I guess, just top 3 temples? I didn't really differentiate too much.
That's true. First temple I ever went inside was the Nauvoo temple.
Ooh, that's a good one.
So that holds a very tender place in my heart. Mm-hmm. Especially because afterwards we went and got fudge. So it was like ramped up. You get the spiritual sweetness and then some temporal sweetness, and good combo.
Match made in heaven?
Oh, definitely. Heavenly fudge. Delicious. So, love the Nauvoo temple. I also really enjoy the Provo City Center temple.
Okay.
I think it's really unique seeing the brick on the outside versus like the traditional white temple. Not that there's anything wrong with white temples. They're very much a staple and the standard, but it's kind of fun to see something different and to see, if we're going to do like a whole analogy thing, how something that was very much ordinary and plain can be made very celestial. So I think that one is just gorgeous. And then the Oregon temple in Portland is just beautiful. I spent pretty much every day of my mission seeing that temple and knowing the history and being able to see the inside of it. I got to go all the way up on the roof.
Oh, that's fun.
Which was really cool. The security guard that worked at the Portland Temple Visitor Center was super chill, and so he was always like, sisters, let me show you something cool, and he got to share some really fascinating stories. And so just feeling the peace that's on that temple grounds also makes it a very tender place in my heart. So those are probably my top 3. Provo City Center, the Portland Temple, and the Nauvoo Temple. Those are my 3.
So on your mission, you were in the visitor center, but you also like were proselyting, right? Proselyting. So between those 2, like, I don't know, callings, which would you say was your favorite? If you had to pick.
I would have, that is a really tough one.
We're hitting hard.
Oh, I would have to say working at the visitor center.
Okay.
Because not only did I get to be next to the temple every single day, I also had the chance to meet anybody and everybody who wanted to come to the temple. So other missionaries would bring their investigators or people who were just curious about the church to the visitor center, and then we got a chance to interact with them and talk with them. I also had the chance to do a lot of online teaching. And we were kind of one of the front runners for the online movement before COVID hit. And so it was really cool being able to do that and then seeing how it actually helped missionaries once COVID hit.
So did you guys have like Facebook accounts and like stuff that you would do?
Or
what do you mean by like online stuff? Like what did you do?
So we did the chat services for Mormon.org. So anybody and everybody who got on Mormon.org who were like, hey, I really want a Bible, or I've heard these weird things about Book of Mormons, I want to check it out. We could either talk to them through there or send local missionaries to them. So it was really cool to start building those connections. I had a guy that I got to teach from London who met with the missionaries, and I got to help him all the way to his baptismal date. I had another guy in Florida who wanted to learn about the church, and so I got to help teach him. And I got to do it all from Oregon, which was really cool and unique.
That is super cool.
Did have my good fair share of weird conversations, quite a few people pretending to be Satan, who were like, hey, I can see into your soul. Majority of them were just 12-year-old boys who were like, I have the eye of Sauron. And I was like, that's from Lord of the Rings. You got to back up there, bud. All love serving at the visitor center. It was really unique to have so many opportunities to interact with people basically all around the world. We had a Chinese group that would come in, and we would have English classes with them right in front of the Christus statue. We had people who would just be driving down the highway and were like, whoa, a white castle. Let me go check it out. And they would come and we'd be able to share different things and our testimonies. So it was a fun experience. Not that there was anything wrong with proselyting, but there were just so many opportunities at the visitor center.
So, Lexi, we should probably, I don't know that we should probably, well, okay. I'm just going to bring this up because I think it's super cool, and I think we're super cool, even though I don't like talking about it because I feel like bragging. But what did we do last year?
Oh, what did we do last year?
Yes.
So we're switching subjects again.
Yes, we are.
But it does tie in.
It does?
A little bit. Like we said at the beginning, Kennedy and I are very like-minded. A lot of our questions or answers to questions are very similar. And we do a lot of games together. We watch a lot of the same movies together. We both love fall and Halloween, and games included. And I have game nights fairly often. And about a year ago, little over a year ago, I was sitting in Sacrament and had an idea for a game. And I proposed this idea to Kennedy and a few others, got some insight, and tweaked it a little bit. And by the following Sunday, I had a prototype for this game. And that kind of spiraled and led into Kennedy and I creating a gaming company.
Yes, we did do that. So at the beginning of the infancy of our company, which is still kind of in its infancy, I just told Lexi, like, I don't want to, steal your idea. I'm just going to be like the fun aunt that just like pops in with just like a, hey, what about this? And then just disappears.
The correct term that she used was the fun wine aunt.
Yes, I was
a little on the kooky side and not quite all there.
Yeah, that's what I like envisioned my role in being. But eventually, like, Lexi and I, we just were like getting together more and more, and we were just kind of like, okay, you know what, let's just split the company 50-50. And then we started brainstorming names and ideas, and eventually we settled on Arsenic and Ice Cream Games, because our goal or our vision was to create games that are a little bit spooky, a little creepy, and then also to have like the more younger, family-focused games that are
sweeter.
Yeah, a little sweeter. So we've got the ice cream and the arsenic, and then we'd have games down both avenues. So we worked really hard. We found an artist off of Instagram, And earlier this year, we launched the game that Lexi thought of during Sacrament, which we ended up calling Murder by Mayhem. So you know that her thoughts were definitely in the right place during church.
I like to think of it as divine inspiration because it's definitely not an idea that I typically have. And how smoothly everything has come together still leads me to believe that God has a sense of humor and he definitely knows us individually because it's right up my alley. And the fact that the road has basically been paved for us to do this, he's definitely had his hand in helping.
Oh, for sure.
So maybe not the best thought process or location to have the idea, but definitely inspired. I'll say that.
Yeah, so we launched it on Kickstarter in June. And it was fully funded, got successfully put into production. So now we have like an official card game.
Yeah, it's out, it's on the market, it's available. Still doesn't feel 100% real, even though we play it pretty often.
Please don't take this as a plug. I don't want this to come across as we're bragging. This is just something that is a big part of our lives.
It has taken a lot of time and
effort. And since the purpose of this podcast is to get to know people in the ward, that's kind of like a big part of me and Lexi. Yeah. So please don't take this as like we're trying to convince you to buy our game or like we want to brag. We just want to let you know about ourselves, and that's
a big part of who we are.
Part of ourselves.
Games, murder, spooky, and fun.
Yeah,
that's basically us.
Pretty much sums it up. Okay, now I'm uncomfortable talking about us, so I'm going to ask you another fun question.
Go for it.
Do you think that your 15-year-old self would think that you're cool?
Yes.
Care to elaborate?
No.
No.
My 15-year-old self, I'm trying to think back. I'll be honest. 15 was kind of a blur. 14-year-old me, I can picture pretty vividly.
Okay. Does that have anything to do with the fact that your favorite number is 14?
Probably.
Okay.
I just really enjoy the number 14, but I don't think it necessarily associates with 14-year-old me. I just know 14-year-old me had very round purple framed glasses.
Yes, you did.
I had braces, and I was really into flipped up hair. So every time I would do my hair, I would have a flat iron and I would flip the ends out. So I looked kind of like a broom.
Okay.
It was
That's a look.
A look. But in my head, I was very cool. And I was already starting to get into this spooky vibe or atmosphere, but I was very nervous about doing it because I didn't want to come off as creepy. Now that I'm older,
You say, I don't care if I'm creepy.
I don't care that I'm creepy. I have just completely embraced what I love and what I like to do. And I think 15-year-old me / 14-year-old me would be very in awe that I have just completely embraced that. I just kind of do whatever I feel like doing. If I want to go see a movie or try a new place to eat, I don't mind doing that by myself. But I also don't mind going with a group. And so 14, 15-year-old me was very anxious and nervous about a lot of things. And I think they would be very appreciative of the fact that I don't care anymore. If I enjoy it, I do it. Can you say the same, Kennedy? Would 15-year-old you be impressed with who you are today?
I think so. I don't know that, like, impressed is, like, the best word. I think my younger self would be proud of me. I think I speak for a lot of people when I say that junior high was a dark time. I was probably depressed. I had a lot of anxiety and just like having to go through that like growing process and like getting older and figuring out how to have like my own testimony and what I wanted out of life. I think she would be very proud of where I am today. She'd probably think that I was a nerd and that I...
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I don't know that she'd probably, like, you know when you're out in public and you, like, run into a group of, like, the youths and you do something and they just kind of give you this look like, I can't believe you just did that in public.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's how she would, like, see me and just be like, oh my gosh, like, this girl's kind of weird. Like, I can't believe she just did that. I would never. But I think that's come from, like, gaining confidence in myself and figuring out who I am. So I think, yeah, I think she'd be proud, but I don't think that she'd be like, oh my gosh, she's so cool, I want to hang out with her. She'd probably just think that I was weird.
If you could time travel back or forward, would you do so? Would you let your past self or your future self know anything?
I don't think I'd want to go forward.
Okay.
Because I would be too scared to what I would find.
Understandable.
Because I would be like, I don't know, I'd be really worried that I don't achieve the things that I want to, and like get the like results out of my life that I've worked towards. And so that would give me like way too much anxiety going forward in time. I think if I could go back in time and tell my past self something, I probably would. I don't think she would have listened.
Really?
Yeah. I'm a very stubborn, headstrong person, and I don't like when people tell me what to do. And I don't like the biggest, like, one of the things that drives me crazy is, like, when people are like, don't worry, like, it'll all work out. Everything will work out in the end. I hate that phrase.
What would you rather hear, then? Or would you just not want to hear anything?
I don't think I would want to hear anything. Which is, like, so bad. Okay. It's, like, I don't know. I've always, like... because I am so stubborn and headstrong, I've always wanted to figure things out for myself, which has made it really hard with things like personal revelation, because I don't want it to feel like God is telling me what to do. Even though, like, I want God to tell me what to do because it would make life so much easier. The second I feel like God is telling me what to do, I feel very restricted. And so a lot of times my personal revelation, I have to come to the answer, like, I have to already be thinking along those same lines before I receive my answer. Which, like, I don't know, kind of feels like a counterintuitive way to do it sometimes, but that's just, like, what's worked for me. So I think if I were to go back in time and tell my younger self anything, like, I would just brush it off. Like, I wouldn't even take it as, like, advice. I would just be like, okay, this, like, adult is telling me what to do. Great, thanks for nothing. Like, that's not helpful.
You're like, I didn't need that right now. Didn't ask for it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's fair.
So, I would try my hardest to get through to that stubborn little girl. That, like I love Harry Potter, right? We've talked about our Hogwarts houses and Hogwarts Legacy. I didn't read Harry Potter until I was almost in high school because I had so many people telling me that I would love it. And when people told me that I should read it and that I would really enjoy it, but because I had people telling me to read it, I said, no, I'm not going to.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, so if people try to tell me what to do, my brain is just, like, immediately like, okay, I'm not gonna do that.
But you eventually...
I eventually...
When it was on your own path and your own terms.
Yeah, when it was on my own terms, then I read it, and then I really enjoyed it. And so that's, like, yeah, my past self is too stubborn. I'm still stubborn now, but she was, like, way stubborn.
She was at least, like, a 12, and you brought it down to, like, 10?
Maybe 11 and a half.
11, okay.
We made some progress.
Giving yourself too much credit.
Yeah. What about you? Would you go forward or backwards in time?
I don't know if I would want to speak to myself. I think it would freak me out, if I'm honest.
Freak out present you or past you?
Both.
Okay.
I think the mental image that I have conjured of my past self might conflict with the actual reality, and I wouldn't want to interfere with that. I also wouldn't want to scare my younger self and being like, holy freak, we can do time travel? Like, this is pretty cool. Like, she doesn't need to know that information. That's too much for her to process.
Okay.
She's got a lot already going on. But I love like medieval kind of stuff. So I would probably go back and just like
Oh,
spy around.
you're going back to like another lifetime.
I'm going far back.
Okay.
Like I think it would be cool to just be like a little fly on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
If I go back too far, I might be like accused of being a witch. So I don't want to die.
Yeah.
But I just want to like check out how people actually interacted and what life was like for them back then. Like it's fun to like read it in like history books or like see movies that kind of portray that. But to like actually be there, I think would be pretty cool.
Yeah, just don't get caught because you would definitely get burned as a witch.
I would be burned as a witch. I really enjoyed reading 10 Issues Among the Nephites, that series.
Mm-hmm.
And be honest, I don't think I ever finished it, but I was really into it for a hot minute. And so I think it'd be cool to go like so far back to like be there when Christ like appears at the temple and just be like, ooh, I gotta see him. Because otherwise I gotta wait. And I'm too impatient to do that. So I'd want to just like back travel. So I wouldn't communicate with myself, but I would just be a fly on the wall and check out all the important events in history.
Mm-hmm.
And then they'd be like, cross that off my bucket list and then come back to the present time.
Would you try to influence time at all? Or are you scared of the butterfly?
I have seen too many movies where that just ends horribly. No. I mean, I might accidentally do something, but I wouldn't want to interfere. Okay. I would just, like I said, observe.
Would you take anything? Would you be like, yes, I think I will take this 17th century sword for me, thank you?
Ooh. That is a good question.
Because I don't know if I could stop myself from just like maybe taking like a little trophy. Just to, you know, maybe sell in the future if I get desperate, or just to have like as a memory for myself.
Well, I'm just thinking about like all of the like Alexandria's library.
Ooh.
Like, that would be pretty cool.
You can't fit an entire library in your pocket.
I could definitely try.
You could fit like 2 books, maybe.
Have you seen the bags I carry around? I could fit so many books
I said
in
your pocket.
Well, I'm taking a bag now. If I'm time traveling, I can take a bag.
Okay.
Oh, but that would be really cool. Or like some of the artworks that have been lost over time. But realistically, I think if I am going to like sneak something out, it's going to be like a really cool dagger. And I'm just going to be like, no one's going to notice this. Because if I show up back in like our time with a lost piece of art, that's going to raise some red flags.
You don't have to tell anybody about it though.
How am I going to sell it then and make $1 million?
Oh, you're going to sell it?
Well, obviously.
You're making a profit off of this. You just don't want it to like.
I don't want to draw any red
your
flags.
Time that you almost got burned as a witch.
Well, I don't think there were 100 great pieces of art around the witch time. I think that was a different time period.
No, you just can't go to Salem. You just got to go somewhere else. Go to Greece.
I could still get burned as a witch.
You could take a Greek statue. Take it home with you.
Oh yeah, because I can't fit a library, but I can take a Greek statue. That's not going to work out. Yeah, no. I don't know. I really, like, I would take something small probably, but I don't want it to really influence. Because I may not know the whole plan, but God definitely knows the plan, and I don't want to interfere with whatever he's got going on.
That's true.
Even if, like, a lot of it is, like, human fallacy and all that messed up stuff.
In our theoretical example, time travel fits into God's plan.
Oh, yeah,
so that makes sense. I understand where you're coming from.
And, well, time is, like, a wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey ball of stuff. But what hidden talents do you have, and what superpowers would you rather have?
Ooh.
Okay. If not time travel.
What are we classifying as a talent?
Anything that you can do. It's not the most descriptive, but it can be a talent.
Got it. Okay. I don't know. Like, I feel like talent is something that you actually had to like make an effort on, right? Because like, I have hypermobile joints, and so like my fingers bend like way farther than they should. But I wouldn't say that that's a talent because I didn't put any effort into that. It's just like the way that my fingers are. But my talent. I can play the didgeridoo very poorly. It's not super great, but it's fun. It's fun because like you don't actually need a didgeridoo to play one. You can just like if you have like a paper towel roll, that can be a didgeridoo.
And you didn't bring a paper towel roll?
No, I don't have one with me. I'm so sorry.
You know what? I'm pretty disappointed.
Yeah, that's my bad. Next time, I'll bring a didgeridoo.
Okay, next episode. You heard it here first.
Oh no.
Didgeridoo.
I made a promise. Now I have to keep up with it. I don't know that I've really got anything else. Do I have any other talents? I'm asking the person who probably knows me the best. What else can I do? Nothing? I can't do a handstand. I can't do a cartwheel.
Did you want to do those things?
I don't know. It seems like a good talent to have. Like, you never know when you're just going to be like, hey, watch me do a handstand.
If we were like 6?
My friend does it all the time, and she's 23.
Well, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
She's got like a Ty Lee kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Cool. Like,
not really.
Oh, never mind. Less cool. You know what? That's a really tough question to be asked on the spot.
Yeah, it is. I'm glad you recognize that.
I apologize for throwing you under the bus.
Well, Lexi, what talents do you have?
Ooh,
I completely forgot about the superpower part of the question.
Yeah,
we'll circle back.
You did. We'll come back to that. Okay. By your definition, a talent is something that you've worked on to acquire.
I think so, because otherwise it's just like a thing that you can do.
I can do a sick Gollum impression.
Ooh, you can.
That's my hidden talent.
See, just like I have to bring a didgeridoo next time, you have to now do your Gollum impression.
Do I have to do it now or not next time?
No, you have to do it now because this is something that's just your voice box. You can't leave the people in suspense.
Ah, that's true. That would be very rude. Okay, give me a phrase, something that I need to say as Gollum.
What's in its pockets?
That's just from the movie.
Yeah, do you want something not just from the movie?
I mean, I say that to get into the voice, and then I can say other things.
Okay.
Apologies now, because this might translate horribly through the microphone.
Yeah, this might peak the mic.
But we're gonna try.
I don't know what a good phrase for you to say is.
I'll just do the intro.
Okay, yeah, just do the intro. That works.
Alright.
Do you remember the intro?
We're gonna find out.
We're gonna do an intro.
Yeah,
okay.
Who knows what the intro is for?
Grim! You stupid fat hobbitses with their silly English ropes. What has it got in its pockets? Okay, I think I found some voice. So welcome to the 20th Ward podcast. In this silly little voices, we've got our co-host Kennedy and our co-host Lexi.
That's all I got right now.
That was terrifying because you were making direct eye contact with me the entire time, and I kind of felt like I was in danger a little bit.
My favorite memory of doing a Gollum impersonation is girls' camp. We were in the cabin. A lot of people were like taking naps. It was just a really chill afternoon. One of our leaders had gone out to use the restroom, and she came back in. And the beds were bunk beds. And I was on the top one. And she sat down on the one underneath. And I grabbed the bars, threw myself upside down. So just my face popped up right in front of hers. And I just started talking to her in the Gollum voice. And she let out a string of curses. She was so terrified. And then she realized what she had said, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, girls, you can't tell. Don't tell the other leaders that I said that." Highlight of my whole young woman's camp experience. I apologized very profusely, but deep down I was also like, "This is hilarious," and I have an evil hidden talent that I can use for good or for evil.
Oh, definitely for evil.
Mostly for evil. Yeah, can't deny that. But yeah. So, superpowers.
Oh, yes. What superpower would I actually want to have? Because, there's the basic ones of, invisibility and the power to fly and, talk to animals. But
technically, you could just talk to animals now.
That's true.
They just can't really talk back to you.
Yeah, that's true. Can you imagine, like, being like, I wish for the power to talk to animals, and he's like, poof, go talk to him, and, like, nothing
Nothing
changed.
happens. That's basically, like, a traditional genie switcheroo.
Mm-hmm. I read a really good one on the internet. The internet.
The interweb.
The interwebs. A while ago that was like, this person's wish was to always have the exact amount of money they needed when they reached into their pocket.
Oh.
Yeah. So, like,
that's really nice.
Can you imagine, like, going to buy a car and they're like, cool, that'll be $3,200.06, and you just reach into your pocket and you just have that.
Oh, you have a wad of cash
and like 6 cents, and you're just like, here you go, exact change. Like, iconic.
Oof. That's a power move right there.
I think that would be mine.
You couldn't 100% like fight crime with that per se.
Why am I fighting crime?
I just assumed superpowers.
Just because it's a superpower does not mean I have to be a superhero. But
it's
that was not a condition of this question. Please don't put that on me.
You're right. That's too much. But I was gonna say, it's very in line with like Iron Man and Batman, where it's just like, I have unlimited funds.
I can throw money at the problem and eventually something will stick.
Basically, yeah. I like it though.
Thank you.
I thought when you first mentioned that it was going to be the internet superpower that you were going to do the power to refill things.
Oh,
if you've heard
that's
that
a good one. That is a good one.
Because, again, I don't know why I immediately thought of fighting crime, but like, they talk about in this little post online about refilling one's bladder. Because it's really hard to fight when you really have to go. And you just keep refilling. Like, that would be some bad juju.
That would be.
But yeah, no, that's not what I would pick, though, as a superpower.
Okay. You don't want to refill people's bladders.
No.
Would you rather empty their bladders?
No, I don't want anything to do with bladders.
Got it.
No, thanks. No. The superpower for the longest time that I used to say, which is very much a cop-out because I didn't want to pick something, but I wanted the ability to copycat.
Okay, that is the biggest
cop-out
answer in the history of cop-out answers. I am
well aware, but I have refined it, so it's not just unlimited.
You put limits on your power.
I put limits on my power because it used to be anytime I read something, I could mimic that ability.
Okay.
Indefinitely. So if I just kept reading or watching superhero movies, I could have everybody's power.
Would they stack, though? Or would it be like, the second you watch Spider-Man, your Iron Man ability has overwritten? And so now you're Spider-Man.
Originally,
but then if you see Captain America, you're Captain America, not Spider-Man.
Yeah, see, and that's where it became too much. And I was like, oof, that's not cool. It's got to have some faults. Because originally it stacked and it was indefinite. And I could just basically be everybody, anytime, everywhere.
That would be so hard.
Why would it be hard?
Because if you have every single superpower ever... Like, imagine being Elastigirl and Spider-Man. You try to shoot your web and your arm just flings out like 3 stories out. And you're just like, shoot, that's not what I meant. So then you try to reel it back in, but then you're so strong that you smack yourself in the face.
That would imply that I couldn't control any of the powers.
Do you think if you have that many superpowers, you can control all of them?
In my mind, I could.
You have a really big ego.
I did. But I have refined it. You haven't let me refine it.
Okay.
So now it has been reduced to, it doesn't stack, whatever the most current thing is that I actively put into memory. So it's not just I see something and then immediately it's locked in. Okay. I have to actively choose to, quote unquote, lock it in. And it only lasts for an hour. So if I wanted to fly, I would only have flight for an hour. So I couldn't...
You want to fly to Salt Lake?
I didn't say how fast I was going.
Okay.
Maybe I want to fly somewhere else.
You have to fly really fast.
That was my go-to.
Okay.
Is copycat.
Still a little bit of a cop-out answer.
Still a little bit of a cop-out. If I did have to pick one that wasn't the one that I customized and sculpted, I would have to do just classic flying.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you afraid of heights at all?
Not going up, coming down a little bit. I'm a little scared.
Cool. So you would just always fly for the rest of your life.
Well, if I could fly, then I wouldn't be scared of flights as much.
I think having an ability to do something does not negate the fear that comes with that ability. Because, like, I can swim. I'm still afraid of the ocean. Just because I can swim does not mean that I'm not afraid of what's down there.
I think I would overcome it over time. Because I love going rock climbing and I love rappelling. And depending on the day, I am more or less scared of something. If I do it more often, then I'm less scared of it.
Okay.
I think the same would apply if I had the flights of, or the power of flight.
The flights of power.
The flights of power.
Okay, that's fair.
That'd make a pretty good book title.
I accept your answer.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm glad you accepted it.
I have one final question for you before we wrap up.
Okay.
If you had to pick one movie to be your favorite movie, what would it be?
I don't like this question.
Too bad. Answer it.
Favorite movie?
Your favorite movie, regardless of genre or time of year. You can still watch other movies, but this has to be your favorite movie. What would it be? She's broken.
Yep.
I broke her.
That's my internal monologue right now. They're very, very similar to your top movies.
No, you don't get top movies. You get one.
I want top movies,
You
please.
can't. Okay, fine. You can have top 3.
Okay. Top 3 in no particular order.
Okay.
I love Scream. Scream is
a fantastic movie.
Scream is so classic and iconic.
Mm-hmm.
It's stupid and hilarious and great all at the same time.
Yes.
Clue.
Okay.
Same vibes.
Mm-hmm.
Stupid, iconic, horrible, but hilarious all at the same time. For my third, I might have to go Princess Bride.
You are really rude because you stole your 3 answers directly from my top 5 favorite movies.
Here's the thing. I have introduced you to 2 of those top 3 movies.
Okay, and?
That doesn't
mean you have a monopoly on them.
Neither for you.
Shoot, I walked into that one.
Yeah, you did! If I introduced you to them, means I already enjoyed them enough to share them with you.
No, you've shared movies that you didn't enjoy with me because you wanted me to suffer with you.
That is also true. But not for those movies.
Okay.
Turn around. Same for you.
I will answer my original question of my favorite movie. Because if I were to give you my top 3, they would be very similar to yours.
Yes.
My favorite movie of all time, and will forever be my favorite movie, is Lego Batman. It is a fantastic movie. It's so funny. It's got good, like, values. It teaches you about family and, like, working together as a team. And it just, like, is one of those movies that when I'm feeling sad or I've had a bad day, like, always cheers me up. I quote it all the time. If you haven't seen it, I highly, highly encourage you to watch it.
This is a plug.
This is a plug for Lego Batman. Please watch it. If you see me at church or whatever, please come tell me that you watched Lego Batman, and we'll be best friends. Like, I just love that movie so much. Yeah, that's my favorite. I have nothing more to say about it.
It is a golden movie.
It is.
Definitely top tier.
It is a fantastic movie. Okay, so that was the episode, getting to know me and Lexi. For our next guest on the podcast, what we're going to be doing is giving a kind of a hint or just like a fun fact about them, and then we want to see if you guys can guess. So for our next guest, this is what we have.
This person is recently getting into costume making. So we appreciate you guys listening to our episode, and hopefully you can guess who's that ward member.
If you have a guess, make sure to leave it down in the comments below. Goodbye.